Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has launched a massive crackdown on child marriages across the state. The Assam police have arrested over 2,000 people and 4,004 cases have been registered against the accused so far. The police said they have prepared a list of 8,000 such accused and the drive will continue. Not only that, the police have also arrested 51 Purohits and Qazis who conducted such wedding rituals in religious institutions. The statewide crackdown announced by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma began on Friday and will continue for the next 6 days. Earlier, the state cabinet decided that those having married girls below 14 years of age are going to be booked under POCSO Act. Meanwhile, politics has flared up after the crackdown, calling the Assam government biased. Asaduddin Owaisi asked what will happen to the future of the girls who have already been married.
Bortoman 4,074টা কেছ ৰেজিষ্টাৰ কৰিছিলোঁ আৰু ইয়াত সৰ্বমুঠ 8,134 জন ব্যক্তিক আমি অভিযুক্তৰ শাৰীত ৰাখিছোঁ। ইয়াৰ কিছুমান ব্যক্তি এনেকুৱা আছে যি হয়তো বিবাহত আবদ্ধ হোৱা ব্যক্তিসকলৰ পিতৃ-মাতৃ তেওঁলোকলৈকে চৰকাৰে নটিচ দিব তেওঁলোকক পোনছাতে গ্ৰেপ্তাৰ करा न हो।
6 साल से आपकी सरकार है, फेलियर ऑफ द स्टेट है ये। ऊपर से आप और एक उन पे मुश्किलात के पहाड़ उन पे आप डाल दे रहे पूरा। उस लड़की का क्या करेंगे अब आप? क्या करेंगे लड़की को आप? कौन देखभाल करेगा उसका, चाहे किसी समुदाय के हो? ये आसाम में बीजेपी की सरकार जो है एक बायस सरकार है मुस्लिम्स के लिए।
My personal opinion, I would say, is that the law is there, ready for girl to marry as per the Indian law. She has to attain this age and the boy has to attain that age and they can marry. But there are other rituals, other things also which we know, you know, everybody knows that there are girls who are getting married at a very early stage. In Rajasthan also these things were being followed. Early child marriage. So let the law of the land take place and let everybody abide by it. That's it. But why against only one community? Why target only the Muslims and the minorities? Let a law be formed. Why you just want to go randomly target the minorities? That is why we say that the BJP government at the center is against the Muslims and the minorities, as well as the government in Assam is against the minorities.
असम में जो चाइल्ड मैरिज एक्ट के खिलाफ कार्रवाइयाँ हो रही हैं, मैं समझता हूँ कि ये कानून सही है, क्योंकि हमारा देश संविधान से चलता है और संविधान की खिलाफ वर्जी और कानून की खिलाफ वर्जी करना एक जुर्म है, होना चाहिए कार्रवाई। लेकिन उन कार्रवाइयों को एक धर्म विशेष के साथ जोड़ना और ये कहने की कोशिश करना कि सिर्फ ये चाइल्ड मैरिज एक्ट का उल्लंघन जो है सिर्फ मुसलमानों में होता है, ये कहीं ना कहीं आपकी दोहरी मानसिकता को दोहराता है।
देखिए, जो उम्र बच्ची की पढ़ने की है, लड़की की पढ़ने की है, हम उसका पढ़ाई छुड़ाकर और उसे शादी कराते हैं और कानून के खिलाफ जाए तो ये कानूनी जुर्म तो है। और अगर कोई सरकार ऐसा कर रही है, वो बच्चों को पढ़ाना चाहती है और बाल विवाह के खिलाफ है, तो हम उसका समर्थन करते हैं और हमारी लड़की को जो है एक अच्छी शिक्षा हासिल करके IAS, IPS, डॉक्टर, वकील बनना चाहिए।
चाइल्ड मैरिज तो बंद होना चाहिए और बच्चों को वक्त से पहले शादी नहीं करानी चाहिए अभी। लेकिन सरकार बहुत देर से जगी है। ये काम अगर राउंड द ईयर होता तो आज हजार लोगों को गिरफ्तार कराना पड़ता। लेकिन इसमें एक सामाजिक समस्या भी क्रिएट होगा। अब हजार लोगों को आप उठा के ला रहे हैं, जो उनकी बीवियां है, बच्चे हैं, छोटे छोटे बच्चे, कई प्रेग्नेंट वुमेन है जो आके रो रही है, उनके हस्बैंड को जब गिरफ्तार किया है, छोटे छोटे बच्चे 1 साल 2 साल 6 महीने छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं, उनको छोड़ के अब उनको फैमिली का देख रेख का एक मसला एक क्रिएट होगा। सरकार ने ऐलान किया है कि हम उसको अरुणोदय जो महीने में 1,000 रुपया या 5 किलो चावल का इंतजाम करेंगे। सिर्फ 5 किलो चावल 1,000 रुपया से एक फैमिली नहीं चलता। छोटे बच्चों का दवाई का मसला है, कपड़ों का मसला है, शिक्षा का मसला है, और इसका हस्बैंड को गिरफ्तार करके जेल में डालने से फैमिली कैसे चलेगा, ये भी एक मसला है।
I'm being joined on this broadcast with Pramod Swami, the spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mahima Singh, the Congress spokesperson, and Saeed Asad Abbas, who is a political analyst. Welcome all of you. I just want to begin with Saeed Asad Abbas. Saeed, leaving all the politics aside of the BJP and the Congress and the AIMIM as well, What do you make of this particular situation on two fronts? One is, of course, the fact that there is a law that says child marriages are prohibited in our country, and this is a crackdown on that particular law. On the other side, on the Bharatiya Janata Party's game plan to rehabilitate those whose families members have been arrested.
First things first, Chaiti, let me make it very clear categorically that I am strictly against child marriages which take place across India. Let me tell you that this act came into being in the year 1929. Since there have been many amendments which have made, even till the year 2006 is when the recent amendment was made. My question, as a matter of fact, is both to the BJP who is governing now and the Congress who governed for over 10 years, that what have they done till now? Is a brutal form of arrest of 2,000 people, is that the answer? Shouldn't have been there a counseling, education for people. Why prevention better than cure? And I will tell you, to prevent people to get into child marriages. Law enforcement, where there is child marriages taking place, to arrest them there. Now what is happening is a violation of human rights. You've arrested 2,000 people, you've not even brought enough provision. A mere 1,000 rupees for a month and 5 kgs of rice is not going to help. The fact of the matter, there was a 55-year-old lady from Majuli district who said you've arrested the men, but many of them are daily wage workers. How are we going to eat our daily food? What about the income? Definitely take charge. Definitely arrest those who are prohibiting this laws. But there needs to be rehabilitation, there needs to be counseling, education, which needs to come in the forefront. So therefore, those government in power, be it the Congress or the BJP, must have done this long before than making a brutal bulldozing effect which is going to hurt the human rights of the
And this
people.
is exactly the humanitarian point that I would like to take forward on this show, outside of the politics. Pramod Swami, BJP spokesperson, now joins us. Pramod, how do you respond? Saeed Abbas makes a very pertinent point. He says he is against child marriages. All of us, I'm sure, on this panel are against that. But the methodology in which the government has gone around arresting these people seems to be a bit of a stretch, given the fact that we haven't probably thought through what will happen to these families too.
देखिए, यहाँ मूल प्रश्न है कि क्या बाल विवाह के पक्ष में लोग हैं या विपक्ष में लोग हैं? क्या महिला सशक्तिकरण की बात करने वाले चाहते हैं कि 14 वर्ष की उम्र में बच्चियों की शादी कर दी जाए? तो फिर इस देश में एक जो कानून है, उस कानून का क्या मतलब रह जाएगा? यहाँ हमने
सवाल वो नहीं है सर, सवाल प्रमोद जी ये है कि जो आपकी जो मेथोडोलॉजी है, जिस तरीके से आप लोगों ने किया हुआ है, क्योंकि एक चीज है कि आप लोग कानून फॉलो करो, जो आपको करना चाहिए, लॉ एनफोर्समेंट जरूरी है, और चाइल्ड मैरिज में मैं ये दावे के साथ कह सकती हूँ, हमारे 4 जन के ये पैनल में नोबडी इज फॉर चाइल्ड मैरिजेस, बट आप हमें दर्शकों को ये बताइए कि आपकी मेथोडोलॉजी, प्लान ऑफ एक्शन क्या है, क्योंकि अचानक से आप इन लोगों के फैमिलीज को अप्रूव कर देंगे तो वो जाएंगे कहाँ?
देखिए, इनको जो अरेस्ट किया गया है वो वेरिफिकेशन के इनपुट्स जो मिले हैं, उनकी फैमिली मेंबर से जो इनपुट मिले हैं, चाइल्ड वेलफेयर सोसाइटी से जो इनपुट मिले हैं, लोकल लोगों से जो इनपुट मिले हैं, और पुलिस को जो अपनी जो जानकारी है उसके आधार पर पे एफआईआर दर्ज की गई है, और एफआईआर दर्ज करके उन लोगों को अरेस्ट किया गया है। और इसमें भी 14 वर्ष से 18 वर्ष के जो लोग हैं उनको बेलेबल सेक्शन के तहत अरेस्ट किया गया है, और बिलो जो 14 वर्ष जो है उनके वो है नॉन वोलेबल सेक्शन के तहत अरेस्ट किया गया है। अब यहाँ मानवीय अधिकार की बात भी उठी, तो क्या सिर्फ मानवीय अधिकार, क्या हिमायती मैं भी हूं, लेकिन क्या देश में कानून जो है उस कानून को सबको मानना चाहिए या नहीं मानना चाहिए? मानवीय अधिकार पर भी बहस की आवश्यकता है। तो हमने उस मुद्दे को भी ध्यान रखते हुए जो अरुणोदय हमारी बेनिफिशियरी स्कीम है, या खाने के लिए जो चावल की आवश्यकता है या अन्य जो आवश्यकता है, उस आवश्यकताओं को जब पति की गिरफ्तारी हो जाएगी तो पत्नी की जो जरूरतमंद चीजें हैं उन आवश्यकता को पूरा करने के लिए सरकार अपनी तरफ से चेष्टा करेगी, प्रयास करेगी।
और जो सरकार ने किया है उससे हम सहमत है कि नहीं, ये बात मैं कांग्रेस के स्पोक्सपर्सन से पूछना चाहूंगी। महिमा, आर यू कन्विंस्ड विद द मनी व्हिच हैज बीन गिवन आउट टू द फैमिलीज ऑफ द वंस हु आर अरेस्टेड बाय द रूलिंग भारतीय जनता पार्टी गवर्नमेंट आफ्टर मेकिंग these arrests, because they say we are making the efforts to rehabilitate these families? If you can give your input on that.
Good evening, Chaiti, and good evening all. The question of money is not even secondary but tertiary here right now, because what we are talking about is an absolute state of lawlessness created by the state, which it is now trying to remedify its own actions. Assam, Chaiti, you would know, is becoming the encounter capital of the country. In fact, it is known world over now for that. And not only that, 5th year straight in a row, the crime against women are at a peak, in the state of Assam. Now, amidst of all of this, the actions taken by the Assam government today lack ingenuity. And ingenuity is a characteristic trait of the BJP, wherever it rules. You see what they have done. Today, 2,000 arrests have been made. My question to this government is, the Congress's question, and to the question of any sensible person today is, why were these marriages happening in the first place? How was this lawlessness being allowed to prevail? Because the state is not monitoring the state of law.
No, but Mahima, some of them have happened under the Congress regime also. It's not just the BJP here to blame.
See, the BJP... I have pointed out to the ingenuity, Chaiti, and I have pointed out to, the child marriages may have been happening. It is happening everywhere across the country because there's a customary law in place in this country. The question is that why do you take such abrupt actions? This is an abrupt action which they are taking to remedify their own state of lawlessness, as I pointed out. And I'm reminded of Meghalaya, Chaiti, where, Bernard Marak, the vice president of the BJP, his farmhouse, 6 children were rescued, and a huge racket there
I'll come back to that as well, but Saeed Abbas wants to come in on this particular point. Saeed, I again want to come back to the same point that, this is an abrupt action and not much has been thought through that after this particular crackdown, how are we going to rehabilitate these families, and hence this becomes more of a humanitarian story.
Chaiti, absolutely. I couldn't agree more on the front, because let me share this incident which took place in Assam as we speak. The fact of the matter, there was a lady's husband who was arrested. You may ask why, and I'll tell you why. Mr. Pramod Swami should listen to this. His son married a 17-year-old girl, which is absolutely wrong. He must be booked for it. Today she is 19 years old, 5 months pregnant. The question her mother-in-law, the father-in-law raises is, why is this man arrested? You arrest the man who is responsible, but not the man of the family who is running the show. You want to arrest the husband, go ahead, arrest him, book him. But why arrest a man who happens to be his father? Also, we need to understand now who is going to provide for the child. What about the medical supplies? What are you going to do about it? The fact of the matter, you want to go ahead and book them, arrest them, all right. But there needs to be the right amount of provision which needs to be made. But doing this on a mass basis, 2,000, you're affecting 2,000 families, you're affecting 2,000 breadwinners. Do you want them to die out of hunger? Absolutely no. Also, the fact of the matter, we need to raise the question to the Congress party also is, 10 years you are into power. You could have prevented this, ma'am. You could have absolutely prevented this.
Yeah.
These marriages wouldn't have taken place if you had to enforce this law.
Correct.
The fact the BJP and the Congress needs to understand, keep your politics at bay. Today, a low strata of society where most number of child marriages take place is affected. Effective out of hunger, effective out of poverty.
Yeah.
They are being pushed into poverty because of the BJP Congress politics. The fact this should have been stopped in the first place.
That is a fair point. It had to be stopped in the first place, and that's a question I'm going to come back to Mahima with as well. But Pramod Swami, why don't you respond to the abrupt nature in which... Mahima, I'm coming to you. Mahima, I'm coming to you. He asked a question to Pramod. So Pramod ji, आप बताइए कि जो abrupt nature जिस तरीके से आप लोगों ने किया है, उस पे सवाल उठ रहे हैं. मैं एक बार भी नहीं कह रही हूँ कि जो असदुद्दीन ओवैसी AIMIM के कह रहे हैं कि ये तो माइनॉरिटी पर अटैक है, क्योंकि आप लोग अक्रॉस द बोर्ड, चाहे वो पुरोहित हो या काजी हो, आप लोग सब पर क्रैकडाउन कर रहे हो. बट सवाल ये उठता है कि क्रैकडाउन करने का भी तरीका होता है. यू कांट लीव पीपल इन द लर्च.
देखिए, मैं ओवैसी साहब के ऊपर तो मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा कि उनकी बातों का मैं कोई उत्तर देना की आवश्यकता
नहीं, मैं तो बोल ही दिया है आपको कि वो उसका उत्तर चाहिए भी नहीं. हमें तो दूसरे सवाल का जवाब चाहिए.
मैं दे रहा हूं, मैं उत्तर दे रहा हूं. अब जो व्यक्ति स्वयं नोटबंदी के समय एटीएम में हिंदू और मुस्लिम ढूंढ रहा था और जिसके भाई ने कहा कि 10 करोड़ जो है 100 करोड़ पे भारी पड़ेंगे, उनकी बातों को कोई भी बेसी तवज्जो नहीं देता है. अब मूल प्रश्न आपका ये आता है कि यहाँ जो जेंटलमैन जो बैठे हुए हैं, क्या वो चाइल्ड मैरिज का समर्थन करते हैं? एक नंबर बात,
वो उन्होंने बोल दिया नहीं करते हैं. सही ने आपको सबसे पहले बोल दिया नहीं करते हैं.
मेरे को कंप्लीट करने दीजिए मैडम. तो अगर नहीं करते हैं तो क्या उसके अगेंस्ट में देश में एक कानून जो है, क्या उस कानून का पालन नहीं किया जाना चाहिए? अगर देश में स्थिर है तो अगर कोई मर्डर कर देगा, चोरी करेगा, तो आप तो बोल देंगे उनके भी ह्यूमन राइट्स है, उनके बच्चों का क्या होगा? तो फिर जो लॉ ऑफ द लैंड है उसको आप कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे? कैसे लॉ ऑफ द लैंड को आप इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे? कहीं ना कहीं जाके तो आपको शुरुआत करनी पड़ेगी ना।
Respond to the BJP spokesperson.
प्रमोद साहब, आपका सवाल बिल्कुल लाजिम है, वाजिब है, हालांकि मैं सवाल का सीधा जवाब दूंगा। असदुद्दीन ओवैसी की जो बात है वो अपनी रोटी सेक रहे हैं, ये इसको हिंदू मुस्लिम मुद्दा बनाना चाहते हैं, विच आई एज एन इंडियन मुस्लिम डू नॉट अग्री. I do not see this as an Hindu-Muslim problem, but this is a deep-rooted problem which is taking place across India. The fact of the matter, sir, during the opening of the show, I made myself clear. Categorically, I stated that I'm strictly against the Child Marriages Act. But respected sir, if you learn about Child Marriages Act, it has been into effect since 1929. There have been several amendments made. Also, as a matter of fact, 2006 was the last amendment. Your government has been 2 years in power, almost 2 years in power. Sir, why did you allow those marriages to take place in the last 2 years? Most of the marriages have been taking place, but you did nothing about it. But now you want to do a brutal enforcement of it? Arrest 2,000 people? Prevention is better than cure, sir. Have you done your duty 2 years back? You won't have been able to hit the stomach of the low strata of the society. Garibon ko bachao, sir. Garibi hatao. Garibon ko mat hatao. The fact this is a direct, strict, you do follow the law, you put cases on them, but arresting them in a 2,000 number, what are you going to do at the families? Sir, even the constitution says you cannot brutally emphasize on the constitution, but also have the underlining of the human rights violation, sir. Kindly read the constitution along
and
with
Mr. Pramod Swami, he also mentioned one point about Manobara Khatun of Maregaon, who said that her daughter-in-law was 70 when she got married. Now she's 19 and 5 months pregnant, and who is going to look after her? So this is one of the many problems that I'm explaining to you, because there have been many people who have made such claims like that, because they have sole, bread-earning members of the family, and they don't know where to look now. So the problem is also larger, which is the poverty problem. Now, Mahima Singh, in your tenure also, when the Congress was in power, why was there nothing that was being done to prevent any of this? I mean, and hence the BJP now, when it does crack down, then the Congress comes and says, okay, why are you cracking down on all of this?
No, Chaiti, let me just say, you'll have to understand this. The state of Assam has always had a very sensitive political situation, and to Syed also, with due respect, let me just say that the Congress did whatever in its capacity it could to control the situation, to channelize the resources in a manner that at that point in time were adequate and apt for the situation in the state of Assam, and whatever was being done. Unlike the BJP, we do not believe in bringing in new laws without implementing the older ones. The question that faces the BJP today is when it talks of the Uniform Civil Code, or it talks of the new amendment in the child marriages, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, is that whether they are able to implement the existing act in its fullest form, whether are they ably inculcating awareness, spreading awareness amongst the citizenship of this country, which they are not. You see, it is very easy to now question the Congress party, which has controlled the most sensitive tussles in the state of Assam, in the northeast region, elsewhere also. In our regime, we have taken whatever vital steps that needed to be taken, strategized, acted with utmost ingenuity and responsibility.
It's still rather questionable, because most of these also happen in your regime as well. So that is also questionable, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party today, when it cracks down, is leaving many in the lurch today. Pramod Swami, आप कैसे respond करना चाहोगे? मुझे अभी तक एक convincing answer नहीं मिला है भारतीय जनता पार्टी से.
देखिए, मैं कन्विंसिंग आंसर आपको देने का प्रयास कर रहा हूं कि केंद्रीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय ने जो सर्वे किया है, उस सर्वे के अनुसार जो असम में जो बच्चियों की जो शादी है वो 18 वर्ष से कम उम्र में जो कर दी जाती है, उसमें 31% है. 30% जो है, 31% जो मैरिज जो है वो बिलो 18 इयर्स कर दी जाती है, जिससे उनके स्वास्थ्य के ऊपर में कुप्रभाव पड़ता है. तो ये एक सामाजिक कुरीति है. इस सामाजिक कुरीति से लड़ने के लिए एक सामाजिक अवेयरनेस की भी आवश्यकता है और एक सख्त कानून की भी आवश्यकता है. तो हम सामाजिक अवेयरनेस भी पैदा करना चाहते हैं, और हमारे जो विरोधी है, लोकतंत्र में कोई विरोधी नहीं होता, मतभिन्नता होती है. जिनके हमारे से मत नहीं मिलते हैं, वो लोग भी अगर चाहते हैं कि चाइल्ड मैरिज चीज जो है वो समाज की
बहुत ही सही कह रहे हो प्रमोद स्वामी. You are absolutely spot on in what you're saying, but you have still not answered the question on the rehabilitation of these families as well. Unfortunately, that's all the time that I have on this broadcast.
About the rehabilitation, I have already answered about the rehabilitation. कि हमारे
Let the
आसाम में
people decide then whether they're convinced or not. Let the people decide whether they're convinced or not, because all the testimonies that we are getting from people on ground zero are rather very different. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time out. Pramod Swami, some very compelling points there. Mahima Singh as well. And Saeed Asad Abbas, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.